It's a very good morning from Marrakech in Morocco, and you can probably see from my attire, from my clothing, slightly changed. This isn't what I typically wear back in England, but I'm dressed in typical Moroccan gear because I'm on board a camel. I'm with this group that have gone out for a couple of hours journey that'll take you out with a camel and dress you up like this, so that you can make videos like I am and take photos like the chaps in front of me. But this is what I thought I'd do for, it's about half a day I think in total, from transfer from your hotel, camel ride and the way back. But I think this is definitely something to do whilst you're here. It makes for a change from the Medinas and the souks and the sights of Marrakech, because going on board a camel is different. Put it this way, it is a little bit uncomfortable, I would say. I've actually been on a camel before a couple of times in India, and it was uncomfortable then, and I should have learnt my lesson, but I don't think I have. And having said that, this one's not as bad as the one I remember that was in India, because over there in the Thar desert that we were in, it was actually quite uncomfortable. It was very up and down, but I think the terrain here is not that bad. So far I would say it's passable. It's not as bad as it was in India, but let's see how it carries on. You never know, it might get even more uncomfortable. Let's see how the journey pans out. One thing that actually surprises me is how you can do 4, 5, 6 hours at a stretch on these back in the day when there was no cars and this was the only form of travel in these areas, pretty much like this, up and down. How on earth could you do that many hours? How could you travel long distance on here? It is uncomfortable, but I guess you get used to it. It's a bit different from horse riding, and actually being on an elephant as well is a bit different. Elephant's slower paced as well. These camels are more like they're just up and down because of the height as well, and it's like a bouncing type of ride. So yeah, I mean, how could you do that many hours? You've got to have patience, I guess. Just to let you know the cost of this per person, it's about just shy of 20 euros each, which isn't too bad actually. It's quite a decent price for a couple of hours in with this trip. It's definitely something different. I wouldn't do this back in the UK. I'm not sure where I could go camel riding back in the UK. I'm not sure that's a thing. Could you imagine it on the Yorkshire Dales or the Surrey Downs, or trekking across Hyde Park on a camel? I don't think that's going to take off. So if anyone's thinking of starting a tour company camel riding in Hyde Park, I don't think it's going to take off. I think you need terrain such as this to make it work for this to happen. Just stopped at a place because some of the tourists here wanted to take some photos, so we've got the camels resting over here, and they're quite chilled out actually, quite relaxed. I thought they'd be a bit more ferocious than this, but they're quite sitting in a very relaxed way. Just stopped in this location. I'm not exactly sure where it is because, to be honest, it all looks the same. Back in the thick of the action here in Marrakech on the camels. The group that's with us wanted to stop for a photo break, so we did, and there's 3 adults and 2 kids, so they took a bit of time in getting the photos done, which is good. hopefully there's another photo break for them coming soon, because even though it's only been a couple of minutes back on the camel, quite a bit of discomfort, as you could probably gather, but we can probably do a little bit more, and I think hopefully there's another break coming up soon, because I don't think it's something that you can do, say, half an hour stretch without stopping. Otherwise it would be extremely painful, extremely. Quite a few building plots here as well. There's a house just back there with a swimming pool being built. Another plot over here. More properties here. Pretty decent sizes as well. On the camel route here in Marrakech. It's not bad actually. If you're in this sort of environment, it's actually quiet out here, peaceful out here. Not much traffic. They've got pretty much small roads and even dirt roads as you go in this area. It's just outside Marrakech, about half an hour's drive away from the Medina. You come to a place like this where the camel journeys and the quad bikes take place. Actually, the quad bikes, I'll mention the quad bikes. So the prices for the camel is about sort of 20 euros each roughly. And because they quote prices here in euros, but I'm used to the pounds, so that was about 20. I think the quads work out about 30 to 40 per person, and they normally do that. You could do that on the same day if you want, but it ends up being a long day, and I thought I just want to do the camel ride because it's hard. I don't want to sit on a quad bike after this, especially after coming all that way from there to here on a camel. But yeah, you're looking at about, say, 40 euros for a quad bike, 20 for a camel, so 60 per person, and that's pretty much, you could say, 3/4 of a day that's gone out of your day. And it's a pretty decent activity. If you've done most of Marrakech, if you've seen the Medina, if you've seen most of the sites, it's probably worth doing. One or the other, or both if you're into that sort of thing. You can see a place with quad bikes just over here. There's one over there, and there's just one over here as well. They've actually got quad bikes on display here. So there's lots of it in this area, pretty much camel rides and quad bikes. There's camels just in the background there. Hopefully my camera can pick those up. You've got the quads here. They've got courses to go on over here as well. So there's one company on this side, another company over there, there's another company over here. So it's all happening in this area where the quad bikes and the camels are. So that's the end of the camel ride. It was about an hour and a half out there in total, pretty much worth it. Came back, there's a tea being set out for everyone that was on the trip. If ever you are down here, do come down. It's worth it. It's pretty much worth it. It's a fantastic trip out, makes for a change from the Medinas and the other sites. So from Marrakech on the camel trail, it's goodbye.